You know, being a mortician seems like a pretty weird job at first, but the more I think about it, it might actually be kinda chill. I mean, the customers can't be that annoying, because they're literally all dead. So it's gotta be better than working retail, right? But imagine clocking in for your first shift only to find out that the place is haunted by a bloodthirsty demon. And to stop it, you have to find the right symbols, spell out its name, and finish the ritual before it's too late. Now personally, I would just quit. But don't worry guys, because I'm here to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the morgue spirit in Mortuary Assistant. We open up with a close-up of this girl Emily getting her jaw wired shut, but she didn't just walk into Jigsaw's dentist office. This is the town morgue, and Emily's already donezo. It's the intern Rebecca's last big test to see if she's ready to run the place on her own, and it's all going fine until she turns around and the body starts to twitch. She catches her boss Raymond looking nervous, but he plays it off and tells her to keep going. So after finishing up, Rebecca takes Emily to the back room and stuffs her in the fridge. She's running through her checklist when she notices that they're low on fluid, so thinking nothing of it, she heads over to the creepy basement to grab some more. But as she's about to go down, Raymond suddenly pops out of the shadows, telling her not to go down there for any reason. And as he shuts the door, this horrifying pale creature appears at the bottom of the stairs. While waiting in his office, Rebecca notices this old wooden box with these strange symbols all over it. Raymond says she'll be covering the day shift while he handles the business side of things. But when Rebecca offers to work nights if he ever needs it, the dude immediately shuts it down. Now, right at that moment, she feels another painful jolt in her head, but she writes it off as just a migraine. And with that, she heads home to get some rest. Sorry, Rebecca, I know you're probably excited about the new job, but I've got some bad news. This dude, Raymond, is suspicious as hell. I mean, right from the jump, I'm a little worried about anyone who decides to become a mortician for a living. Because I'm sorry, but you gotta have a pretty dark personality to pick that as your career choice. Like, I know we all gotta make bread somehow, but hanging out around dead bodies all day? Yeah, that's some Dexter shit. And it only gets worse from there, because you see, after watching so many horror movies, I have a couple of rules that I like to live by. And one of them is, if I ever notice more than 3 red flags, I'm out. And that's exactly what's happening here. First, we got this spooky basement that no one's ever allowed to enter, and honestly, I don't even think I need to explain that one. Everybody knows that basements are where all the bad stuff goes down, and the fact that we're literally in a morgue just makes it even worse. But red flag number 2 might honestly be the worst one, and that would be Buddy's magical demon box that's just sitting on the desk. I mean, I know a demonic object when I see one, and there's absolutely no reason Broski needs to have that unless he's up to no good, so that's like strike 2. And strike 3 was how pressed this dude got when Rebecca offered to work nights, because you'd think after running this place all by himself he'd be more than happy to get some help with the crappy shifts. But he reacted like she offered to feed his gremlins after midnight, so after that I'm already working on my exit strategy. Now the way I see it, our girl's got 3 options here. Option 1, she could go down and check out the basement, but that would be incredibly dumb unless she has to, or option 2, she's just gonna ignore it, but that's not gonna work for me either, so personally I'm going with option 3, getting a new job somewhere else. I'm not saying she has to change career paths, but people die literally everywhere, all day, all the time, so I would just brush up the old resume and find another morgue to work at, and then hit the road and tell Ray Ray to find some other sucker to sacrifice. Cause I'm definitely not sticking around to find out. Rebecca heads back to her sad-looking apartment and drops her stuff in the kitchen counter, while back at the morgue, we see Raymond down in the basement talking to himself, or maybe somebody else. Later, Rebecca's getting ready to head out when she notices this bizarre sketch on her notepad, and to make things even weirder, her car keys aren't where she left them. But she's in a rush and takes off without really thinking about it. Tonight's her 1-year anniversary of getting clean and sober, and after saying a few words to her support group, she's going back to her seat when she spots this random creepy dude rubbing his legs and whispering her name, but nobody else even seems to notice. So as usual, Rebecca decides to just ignore it. After the meeting, her sponsor Kelly admits that she is a little worried. A lot of people end up relapsing after their first year, and she's nervous that Rebecca might slip up. But Rebecca says that she's got it under control and promises to call if she ever needs help. Well, it looks like Kelly called it after all, because after getting home, Rebecca finally caves and goes looking for some stuff, but just as she's about to give in, she thinks better of it and drives away. And that's when she gets a call from her boss saying he needs her at the morgue. Apparently they got a bunch of bodies in after hours and he's too busy to handle it. So even though he just got done saying she'd never work the night shift, he needs Rebecca to come in and help out. But that was her biggest mistake. A little while later, Rebecca pulls up outside this creepy old building and lets herself in. And right from the start, things are getting spooky. One of the fridges shuts by itself just as she turns the corner, but she doesn't notice anything yet and goes straight to work on the first body. Strangely enough, the instructions say to embalm and cremate this dude, which seems kind of pointless to do both, but Rebecca pops on some jams and gets to work. It starts out normal enough, with her stapling his guts back in and doing all the usual mortician stuff, but while she's distracted by her paperwork, this dude opens his eyes and starts looking around. Rebecca sits down and starts typing her report out, not noticing another weird symbol on the folder, just like the one from her notepad. But once that's done, she wheels Broski over to the furnace and sends him in. Okay, hold up. I don't know if Rebecca is just delusional from all those embalming fumes or what, but this whole situation is incredibly weird. Like maybe I'm the one who's hearing things, but I thought literally 4 hours ago this dude Ray said he'd never ever under any circumstances work the night shift. And yet now he's calling her in on night 1? Well, which one is it, pal? I'm just saying, it's hella sus that he switched his tune-up so quick. And by the way, what's he up to in the middle of the night where he can't come in and do his actual job? I want to know. But speaking of that, like Rebecca actually noticed for a change, embalming then cremating the same body just doesn't make any sense. Like first off, embalming a dude's not just some quick and easy thing, like the whole process can take anywhere from 3 hours or more. So if you're just gonna cremate him anyway, that's just a huge waste of time. But also this stuff costs money, you know? And I hate to tell you, but dying ain't cheap. For the business, we're talking like $100 in supplies down the drain. But for the family, they'd be throwing away hella bread for absolutely no reason. And in this economy, I think we all know that's not very realistic. So that's just another reason for me to be sus. Now add that together with her car keys moving, that freaky dude at the meeting, and those weird symbols popping up all over the place, and I think it's pretty clear that we got a problem. But I already know what to do. I mean, besides just clocking out and going home, which is always an option. See, Rebecca might not be paying much attention to it, but if you look at the two symbols from her notepad and the folder on her desk, they look an awful lot like symbols on the demon box she noticed in Raymond's office. So if I was feeling curious, I might go check the boss's desk to see what else he's hiding. You know, like try and look for stuff that matches up and see if I can figure out what's really going on here. But the more she digs, the more she runs the risk of making things even worse. So for now, I guess I would just get through the shift and keep an eye out for any more signs of trouble. Everything's going fine until Rebecca gets back to the office and realizes that somebody broke into her car. And as she runs outside to shut it, this freaky demonic shadow with red eyes starts watching her through the window. She goes back to grab some more supplies and get started on the next body, but all of a sudden she gets another terrible headache, and the next thing she knows, she finds herself sitting at the table with no idea how she got there. Now just then the phone starts ringing back at the office, so Rebecca gets up to go answer it, completely missing another weird symbol scratched on the paper. Only this time it had to be her who did it. So it's her boss Raymond calling to see how she's doing, but Rebecca says she's doing fine and tells him not to worry. Meanwhile, on the other end, we see Raymond sitting with his shirt open, dipping a needle in a bowl of black ink. Rebecca finishes up with the next body and starts heading for the furnace, but on the way the lights go out, and when she tries using her phone, she's only on 1%. So she tells the body to hang tight. But the minute she turns her back, Grandma on the table starts moving around. So she goes to the desk and starts digging around for something to see with. No flashlight, but there is this old wooden box full of strange sheets of paper covered in what looks like some kind of ancient spells. So Rebecca goes, "That'll work," and starts lighting them on fire. But back to the body, she finds one of the arms hanging halfway off the table, and while she's distracted by that, she completely misses this burning symbol on the wall behind her. Meanwhile, Grandma moves her head and starts smiling with this horrifying demonic grin, but Rebecca sticks her in the furnace and fires it up without even realizing. Even without all this demon stuff going on, between her car keys moving around the apartment, the creepy dude at the NA meeting, and now somebody breaking into her whip, I'd be worried that I had a stalker or something. So before the next shift, girl definitely needs to invest in some pepper spray or a taser ASAP. Unfortunately, though, that's not going to be enough to help her now, because it looks like whatever's after Rebecca is a whole different story. Now, as a mortician, Rebecca should already know this, but there should be absolutely no way Granny here just moved her arm. See, it's normal for bodies to move around sometimes because of gases and nerves and stuff like that, but that's only for a couple minutes or hours after death, tops. And this lady's clearly been dead for a while, no offense. Not only that, but once the body's full of embalming fluid, the muscles are basically locked in place. So again, Rebecca definitely should have noticed some red flags here. But honestly, I'm starting to think Rebecca might not be the sharpest scalpel in the drawer, if you get what I'm saying, because I'm sorry, but you'd have to be as brain dead as one of these bodies to find a box full of demonic brochures and think lighting them on fire was a good idea. Harsh, I know, but true. Anytime you find an old book or mysterious object that's covered in strange words you don't understand, the best thing you can do is just put it back where you found it and go do a cannonball in some holy water. I mean, the only way she could have made this worse was if she read the words out loud. But personally, I could never end up in this situation because I'm not dumb. All that other stuff I could probably let slide, but the minute I open my boss's desk and find something that genuinely looks like it's for a demonic ritual, I'm simply closing the box, punching out, getting in my car, and I'm gone. Peace. Alright, meat shields, or should I say best buds? You know what time it is, Marvel Strikeforce time. That's right, you guys, we're back to remind you that the Marvel Strikeforce 8th anniversary event is happening now. And if you weren't aware, let me tell you about it. Marvel Strikeforce is a free mobile squad RPG that allows you to fight as your favorite heroes and villains. You'll unlock and level up your favorite characters from the Marvel universe across some dope game modes like campaigns, arena battles, and a blitz mode to unlock sick gear and other resources. But speaking of game modes, there's a brand new Cosmic Crucible mode that allows you to join forces with your friends or other players. You'll compete in raids and Cosmic Crucible wars, and let me tell you, the rewards you get from the Cosmic Crucible are top shelf. Certain characters will boost the effectiveness of others, so it's key to build the best team possible. Now, I'm a big fan of the mighty Avengers, and I've been having so much fun leveling up my teams with all the new rewards and unlockables this month. If you haven't played yet, it's a great time to jump in. I've made some serious progress since I last checked in with you guys. We unlocked Deadpool. And speaking of him, Deadpool is taking over the Marvel Strikeforce 8th anniversary live event, and players can unlock a few best buds by using the promo code MSF8. With that code, you'll unlock Deadpool, Gwenpool, She-Hulk, and Squirrel Girl for free, plus 1 million in gold and 100 LT training modules. And if you keep playing, you can even unlock more best buds like Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain America, and Dokken. And if you remember my last video about Marvel Strikeforce, I'm in an alliance with 7 other creators called the Best Buds, and we're all taking full advantage of this huge event. To get in on the Marvel Strikeforce 8th anniversary action, download the game now by scanning the QR code or clicking the link in the description. I hope you guys can check it out, and thanks again to Marvel Strikeforce for sponsoring today's video. Alright, next on the list is a blonde woman with cuts and bruises all over her body, but while Rebecca's checking her out, she hears someone knocking on the door. The body opens its eyes and starts watching her as soon as she walks away, and once again, we see that Rebecca drew another weird symbol on the clipboard. But as she goes to see who's there, this terrifying demonic shadow with glowing red eyes slowly peeks around the corner, making this spooky noise that sounds like somebody is knocking on the wall. The power comes back just as Rebecca's starting to worry, and when she looks back again, the vision is already gone. But when she gets back to the morgue, she realizes so is the body. The phone starts ringing again, and thinking it's the boss, Rebecca rushes to pick it up, but just when it seems like nobody's there, she hears her father's voice saying, "It's all your fault." Horrified, she immediately hangs up, only for the phone to just keep ringing, and looking at her hand, she realizes that it is covered in blood. She rips off her lab coat, and the blood disappears, but just when she thinks it's over, the phone starts ringing again. And this time when she answers it, it's her dad trying to report her missing. You see, one night many years ago, Rebecca went out with some friends and didn't come home, so her dad tried reporting it to the cops, but they wouldn't start a search until 24 hours had passed, causing him to go out and start looking for himself. Whatever happened, it seems like Rebecca was scared for her life, but we'll get back to that later, and back in the morgue, Rebecca suddenly passes out, only to wake up back in her own apartment. Alright, I see what this is. Rebecca doesn't need to be working night shifts at the morgue. She needs to be going to therapy. Like seriously though, with all the freaky stuff that's been going on, I think it's pretty obvious what we're up against. It looks like Rebecca accidentally picked up a demon. But I've seen enough Conjuring movies to know how to deal with this, and now that she's back at home, that gives her a chance to get things under control. Now, if it was me here, then the first thing I'm doing is calling this dude Raymond. This definitely explains why he was acting so shady before, and based on all the weird stuff we've been finding around his office, it clearly seems like he knows something about this spirit and what it wants. So even though he hasn't been the most trustworthy dude so far, I'm still ringing him up to see what he knows. But like we just saw, this demon can use the phone too, and that's where things get tricky, because Rebecca won't know if she's actually making progress or if it's just the demon manipulating her. But I can think of a few ways around that. Like first, she's got to get these migraines under control. Every time one hits, that gives the demon a chance to mess with her. So from now on, I'm staying strapped with some Tylenol or ibuprofen at all times. And whenever I feel a migraine coming on, I'll just sit down, throw on an ice pack, and let it pass. Easy. Next, I'd start keeping track of everything I do by literally writing down a time-stamped journal every half hour or so. That way, in case I ever pass out, I can check what I was doing before I fell asleep and see if anything weird happened while I was knocked out. Now, here's where things get psychological, because as we all know, when a demon's trying to possess someone, it starts by using their biggest fears, trauma, and regrets against them. And for Rebecca, she's obviously still hella traumatized over what happened to her dad. So from now on, anytime I see a vision or suddenly get hit with a bad memory of her father, I'd realize it's just the demon trying to manipulate me and then switch gears to think about happy memories instead. That might sound like a joke, but if Rebecca trains her brain to overpower any negative thoughts with positive memories, she'll basically be giving herself a mental shield against the demon's powers. Now, in the long run, there's pretty much only two ways to get rid of a demon for good. Either she needs to hit up the Warrens and get herself an exorcism, or go back to the morgue, find the source of the problem, and find a way to reverse the curse. But at least this should keep her alive until she figures it out. Confused, Rebecca gets up and goes to the mirror when she hears someone knocking on the door, but as soon as she's gone, the mirror fogs up and somebody writes the words, "Let me in." It's her sponsor from NA. After taking one look at Rebecca, she thinks our girl's back on the stuff, and apparently Rebecca called and asked her to come over, but she doesn't remember any of that. So Kelly goes to make some coffee and start the whole process over again. Rebecca tries explaining that it's not what she thinks, but Kelly is absolutely convinced she's just in denial, and she pulls Rebecca in for a big hug, trying to calm her down. But suddenly Rebecca's eyes change, going all demonic, and she starts holding on way too tight. Kelly shoves her off, and after seeing Rebecca's eyes, she goes, "Oh hell no," and starts running for the door, but Rebecca catches up, launches her straight against the wall, and starts whooping Kelly's ass all over the kitchen. She tries to fight back as Rebecca grabs her wrists, but this chick just takes Kelly's hand and bites off her damn finger. She takes Kelly and tackles her to the ground, and then starts reaching for a corkscrew lying on the floor, so Kelly starts holding her back, begging her to stop, but Rebecca finally wins out, and suddenly she takes the corkscrew and jams it right through Kelly's ear, scrambling her brains until she finally drops dead. Rebecca snaps out of it again as soon as Kelly hits the floor, but the damage is already done, and not knowing what else to do, she goes to the restroom and starts washing the blood off of her hands, and then decides to call up Raymond to see what's good. Well, after finding out she's back at home, Raymond starts telling Rebecca she needs to go back to the mortuary, saying that she's a danger to others, and promising to meet her there. Rebecca is still not sure if she even trusts him after everything that's happened, but just as he's about to explain more, she turns around to see Kelly shuffling towards her like a zombie, only to collapse as soon as Rebecca notices. And terrified, she gets up and sprints for the door, only to run straight into the real Kelly, who's just standing there perfectly fine. She tries asking her what's wrong, but instead of explaining, Rebecca just books it right past her and hops in the car, headed for the mortuary as fast as she can. Man, Kelly has no idea how lucky she just got, because if Rebecca spazzed on her like she did in that vision, she would have been toast. But watching fake Kelly get absolutely washed in that fight got me thinking about how I would have survived this. And honestly, I feel like I could have done a lot better. Now, the main issue here is we're not just fighting regular Rebecca. We're fighting someone with demonic strength and agility. So my goal is to not win the battle, just stun her long enough for me to get away. Now, credit where it's due, deciding to run as soon as Rebecca started going all demon in mode was actually the perfect reaction. So we started off pretty strong, but that's where it all fell apart. When Rebecca caught up and started sliding me across the countertop, I need to counterattack before the massive aura loss makes the fight unwinnable. So bam, as I'm sliding along, I pick up the cutting board off of the counter, spin around, and rock her straight in the dome. The board should be sturdy enough to stun her and let me go for a couple follow-up hits while she's down, and since it's pretty thick, I can even use it as a shield if she starts scratching or trying to stab me with something. And then all I gotta do is stun her long enough to get to the door, and bingo, I'm home free. But once Rebecca grabbed her wrists, I see three options here. First is to yank Rebecca closer, hit a quick 180 and launch her over my shoulder, or option 2, go for the leg sweep and knock her to the ground. And last but not least, I could just throw a nasty headbutt straight at her face and create an opening that way. Then just stomp her out and run for the door. And if she takes things to the ground, that's when we hit our go-to escape move, the bridge and roll. I'd simply trap Rebecca's arm against my chest, hook my foot over her heel on the same side to knock her off balance, and then boom, explosive hip thrust, roll her to the side, hit her with a two-piece combo and dip. Easy peasy lemon squeeze. But anyway, when it comes to Rebecca, it looks like her only choice is to go back to the morgue and find out what the hell is going on. After pulling up outside the building, Rebecca just sits there for a minute, catching her breath. But Raymond's already waiting for her, and he's got some bad news. Apparently, some kind of demonic entity latched itself onto the morgue, and now it's trying to possess Rebecca and take over her body. He says he didn't know that it would go after her, but now that it's picked Rebecca as its target, it's gonna use her deepest fears and insecurities to try and break her down. The only way to stop it is with a specific ritual that Raymond's already worked out. But he can't do it for her, which means Rebecca's gotta learn how it's done. So he takes her to the office and breaks out that old wooden box that she noticed before. It's actually a mark used for banishing the demon, and after learning the demon's name using leading strips, those little pieces of paper she was messing with before, she has to put the matching symbols on the board, find the right body, and burn it all in the furnace to finally lift the curse. Now obviously this is a lot for Rebecca to take in, but as Raymond continues to explain, Rebecca suddenly goes quiet, and as the demon takes over, she turns around and starts trash talking, saying Raymond's just using her to protect himself. Now while she's taunting him, Raymond starts unbuttoning his shirt like an office worker about to get in a cage match, until out of nowhere Rebecca pops up and launches him over the desk, and then grabs an embalming tool and starts closing in. But the moment she gets close, Raymond pops his shirt open to show off his sick tattoos, and the symbols force Rebecca to back up, giving him a chance to run for the door. He makes it just as Rebecca's about to grab him, and right as he shuts her in, Rebecca shifts back to normal and starts begging him to let her out. But Ray is not falling for it and leaves Rebecca to figure it out by herself. So, feeling defeated, Rebecca falls against the door and keeps begging Ray to let her out. But he's already long gone, and as the demon appears back in the lab, she gets up and starts searching for another exit, only to realize that everything is locked up tight. She tries the phone, but the line is dead, and as she sits down at the desk and starts flipping through Raymond's journal, she hears someone knocking on the window back at the lab. Now, to Rebecca's surprise, it's her freaking grandma, and she keeps pounding against the glass, shouting at Rebecca to let her in. But realizing that ain't grandma, Rebecca starts backing up, only to turn around and find her father standing right behind her. Shocked, Rebecca watches as he pulls out a scalpel and starts telling her to uninstall. But as she tries to run for it, Broski tackles her to the ground and starts stabbing her leg over and over again, only for Rebecca to snap out of it and realize that it was her all along. Man, I've heard of daddy issues before, but this is something else. Now, I'm not sure why Rebecca's acting like she's trapped in here, because anybody with 2 brain cells could see all kinds of ways of getting out. For one, it's not like the front door's some kind of reinforced bunker, it's just a regular door. So if she looks around for a good tool, she could easily just pry it or smash it open, simple as that. But also, from the outside shot, we can see that a bunch of these windows only have bars over the bottom half. And there's a whole second floor with no bars on the windows at all, so if it was me, I would simply smash the glass, throw a cushion over the spikes, and climb out. Or open one of the second floor windows and get myself out that way, and poof, I'm gone. But of course, that's not really gonna solve the problem, is it? Because we still gotta find a way to get rid of this demon, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure why Raymond completely ditched her instead of just explaining things through the door, but if she wants to banish this demon for good, she's gotta remember what he taught her. The key thing here is that the demon's gonna use Rebecca's biggest regrets and traumas to mess with her. But now that we know that, countering it should be easy. I mean, think about it. Her dad's dead, and her grandma should be home asleep, which means logically there's no way either of them should be showing up here. So anytime Rebecca sees a vision of her father, her grandma, or anyone else that doesn't make sense, all she has to do is ignore it and stay focused on finding the symbols, and she's good. And just to be safe, I'd also go around gathering up anything sharp and dangerous, lock it all up somewhere, and throw away the key down a drain. That way, even if the demon takes over, it's got nothing to use against her. But there's one thing I noticed that Rebecca still hasn't picked up on. Raymond's tattoos seem like they work against the demon. So even if we don't understand why, we can still use that to our advantage. He must have those symbols written down in his journal somewhere, so if I was Rebecca, I would try to find out which symbols he used, then draw them on myself at different places all over the morgue. And if my guess is right, that should keep the demon back and make finding its name a lot more easy. Looking up, Rebecca spots the old man posted at the end of the hallway, so she locks herself in the back room as he stands outside spitting demonic bars. It sounds like the bodies in the fridges are all taunting her too, and meanwhile, Raymond keeps trying to call her, but she's obviously a little too busy to pick up. After making sure the coast is clear, Rebecca finally opens the door and limps back to the lab. She grabs some bandages out of the cabinet, being extra quiet so she won't wake the dead. But as she sits down at the desk and starts patching her leg up, the cut is so deep Rebecca has to give herself stitches. And while she's distracted, the body sits straight up only to go back to normal as soon as Rebecca looks. When it's finally done, Rebecca grabs the scalpel and starts getting ready to prep the body for cremation, but the second she gets done, wha-bam, the chick comes back to life and starts wrestling her for the blade. She manages to knock the scalpel out of Rebecca's hand, but Rebecca turns around and grabs this big metal spike, and after a short battle, she pushes the girl back and jams the spike straight into her neck, giving Rebecca a chance to quickly wrap her up with some wire. The phone starts ringing again, another call from her old pal Raymond, but this time he tells Rebecca she has to mark the body with her blood, then stick it in the furnace to break the curse. So trusting him, that's exactly what she does, but the whole time the body's just laughing at her, and as she puts it in the furnace, a huge flash of light suddenly knocks her out. Now the next thing Rebecca knows, she wakes up strapped to a table, flashing back and forth between the present and her younger self, until all of a sudden she finds herself trapped in the damn furnace. And there's nothing she can do as the flames burn her alive. But she keeps repeating none of this is real until finally she wakes up back in reality. Alright, now just hold on a damn minute here. Because of all the dumb mistakes Rebecca's made tonight, this one definitely takes the cake. So I hate to say it, Rebecca, but you done up here. Now I know this is only your first time dealing with a demon, but to be a mortician, you gotta be pretty good at following directions, right? And Raymond might not be the most trustworthy dude, but the instructions he gave you were pretty damn clear. Find the right symbols, put them on the marker, stick that on the body, and stuff it all in the furnace. Pretty simple. So the minute he called up and started talking about marking the body with blood on a phone that you already knew was dead, by the way, anybody with even the slightest amount of common sense would have said, now wait a minute. This sounds like the demon trying to trick me. Like, the voice on the phone literally said you had to offer it blood because the demon craves suffering. But why the hell would you ever give a demon what it craves? I mean, you honestly gotta be dumb. So I don't know what other problems you just created by giving the demon exactly what it wants, but I think we can all safely agree that Rebecca, you definitely f***ed up. Stumbling back to the phone, she calls Raymond to tell him what happened, but the weird thing is, Ray says they haven't talked since he left the morgue. Now realizing she's been tricked, Ray starts telling Rebecca to hang up the phone, saying she needs to find those old tapes in the storage room that'll show her what to do. But it isn't long before the demon cuts in and starts taunting Rebecca about her dad again until she finally hangs up. With no other choice, Rebecca goes down to the creepy basement and starts looking around for any clues. Now her flashlight dies as soon as she gets to the storage room, but she's able to find the light switch, and searching through the files, she starts finding all these pictures of bodies with bizarre scratch marks, just like the ones she noticed before. And there's still no sign of the tapes, but then she finds this old cardboard box with a bunch of wires sticking out of it, and bingo, that is what she was looking for. But no sooner does she find the tapes than a bunch of random stuff starts jumping off the shelves, and she runs upstairs to go watch the footage. The tape starts off with Raymond just sitting at his desk, and he starts going through the steps in his casual voice like it's some kind of demonic wiki-how. First, she's got to burn the letting strips to find the demon's name, then stick the mark on the body and burn it all up in the furnace, which we knew already, but there's another step. Before burning the body, she has to inject it with possessed blood, binding the demon to the corpse so it can't escape. Well, turns out Broski had some random lady named Valerie trapped in a coffin down in the basement, and he's been using her blood to complete the ritual. With nothing to do but give it a shot, Rebecca grabs the letting straps and starts looking around for the symbols that spell out the demon's name. It doesn't take her long to find the one in the hallway that she missed before, and going back to the desk, she finds the matching token and puts it in the correct spot. Now, so far she's off to a good start, but as she goes back to looking, she finds her father posted in the corner. He starts getting closer, and even though she's scared, Rebecca gets drawn in like it's really her dad. But suddenly, he grabs her neck and starts choking her out. He leans down and starts laughing right in her face, gripping harder and harder until she almost passes out. But at the last second, he vanishes, and Rebecca goes back to looking for more symbols. She finally makes her way down to the basement and decides to open the locked door, but as the fire from the letting strip goes out, she suddenly finds herself trapped in a damn coffin. There's a tiny hole where she can look through, and peering out, she makes direct eye contact with that chick Valerie, who starts begging for help. Kicking the lid, Rebecca's finally able to get free, and on that side of the coffin, she finds another demonic symbol, bringing her one step closer to completing the name. But as she heads back up, the demon appears from the shadows and starts watching her from the bottom of the steps. In the storage room, she finds another symbol hidden behind the shelves, leaving only one left, and sure enough, she finds the last one on the bathroom wall. And it looks like that'll do it, but just as she's about to leave, the door locks shut, trapping her inside. All of a sudden, the water starts pouring out of the pipes, flooding the entire room, and with nowhere to go, Rebecca decides to climb up on the toilet for some reason, only to slip and slam her head right on the sink, knocking her out cold. All right, now come on, Rebecca. That was honestly just sad. You're telling me she found all 4 symbols, only to end up getting clapped by the frickin' bathroom sink? That's just embarrassing. But after coming this far, there's no way I'm letting this demon take me out so easily. Now with the door locked and the room flooding with poop water, this could get overwhelming pretty quick. So what we gotta do is focus on one problem at a time. The door being locked definitely isn't good, but it's not the main threat. So if it was me, the first thing I'd be worried about was finding a way to stop the water. And that's actually pretty easy, because if you look around the restroom, you'll notice that it's full of towels, paper towels, toilet paper, and even a mop bucket. So as the water started coming in, I would be grabbing all that stuff and using it to block the pipes, and that should slow things down a significant amount. Then all I have to do is break off a metal piece from one of the shelves and use it to pry the door open, or take the lid from the toilet tank and smash my way through, and I'd be in the clear. Now the good news is, Rebecca's plot armor is gonna pull her through, this time anyway. And now that she has all the symbols, she should have everything she needs to banish this demon once and for all. But as we're about to see, it's not gonna be that easy. While she's knocked out, Rebecca sees a vision of herself on the night she went missing. Her dad found her passed out by the river and went to go get help. But before we see what happened, Rebecca wakes up back on the bathroom floor. With the final token in place, Rebecca heads back down to the basement to grab some of that possessed blood. And to her surprise, she finds that woman Valerie still trapped in the coffin, but there's nothing she can do to help her right now, so she grabs a bottle of blood and hustles back upstairs. Now it's time to figure out which body to use. And after looking them all over, she decides to go with the guy who has the random demonic markings all over his chest. The dude jolts to life and starts growling at her like he just got possessed by Donald Duck, but she already has him strapped to the table, and after putting the mark on his chest, the dude immediately chills out. Rebecca sticks him with the probe and starts filling him up with the possessed blood, and as she does, another demonic symbol appears on the dude's head. Now, once it's done, she takes the dude and sticks him in the furnace, and thinking that it's all over, she goes back to let Valerie out of the basement. But when she opens the door, she sees the demon crouched at the bottom of the steps, and just then her father appears and tosses her down the stairs. The hit sends Rebecca back to another vision of the night she almost died, and we see that as her dad got up to get help, he actually found himself face to face with the demon, scaring him so badly that he fell and cracked his head on the rocks. Rebecca wakes up back in the basement with her father slowly walking down the stairs, but instead of attacking her, they're both transported to this white void. And for now, it seems like Dad's back to normal. He tells Rebecca not to blame herself for what happened, saying she has to let it go. She's worried she'll forget him if she does, but he says that if she doesn't move on, the only memories she'll have of him are bad ones. And realizing that he's right, she finally comes to terms with what happened, waking up on a table back in the morgue. She's headed for the door when she hears Valerie calling her from from downstairs, so this time she grabs some bolt cutters and goes back to let her out. Now the woman stumbles out of the coffin with cuts and sores all over her body, but as she pulls Rebecca in for a hug, her entire personality suddenly changes, and Rebecca realizes that Valerie is still possessed. Valerie shoves Rebecca to the ground, but just when it looks like Rebecca is toast, Raymond comes flying in, showing the demon his sick tats, and he's able to force her back into the coffin and seal her inside. Back upstairs, Raymond apologizes for everything that's happened, saying he'll answer any questions she has, but Rebecca obviously wants to know what's up with Valerie. But he says the real Valerie has been dead for years, and the woman down in the basement is just a possessed shell. Apparently, there's nothing he can do to reverse it, meaning Valerie's stuck like that until Ray finally puts her to rest. But even though taking her out would be the right thing to do, that would leave him with no source of possessed blood, and he needs it to stop the demon from coming after him. Now that Rebecca knows the deal, Ray wants to work together to find a better solution. At first, she turns to leave, refusing to trust this dude after everything he's done, but Ray says that she's stuck with the demon whether she likes it or not, and if she tries to ignore it, that'll only make things worse. So he spits these deep motivational bars about learning to overcome your fear and promises to teach Rebecca everything he knows if she stays to work at the morgue. Thinking it all over, Rebecca turns around and just leaves without saying a word. But Ray just stands there staring at the door like he knows she'll be back any second. Heading outside, she sees a bunch of kids playing around in the park, and for a second it almost seems like all this demon stuff was some kind of bad dream. But as she looks closer, she spots the demon just smiling at her from the bushes. And realizing he was right, she turns around and heads back inside, deciding to team up with Ray after all. So in the end, that makes one demonic night shift down, with I guess a whole lifetime still to go. But if there's one lesson we can all learn from what happened, it's that if you're ever thinking about taking a job at the morgue, you should probably just stay unemployed instead. Thanks again to Marvel Strikeforce for sponsoring today's video. Remember to go check out the Marvel Strikeforce 8th anniversary event. Use promo code MSF8 to unlock Deadpool, Gwenpool, She-Hulk, and Squirrel Girl for free, plus 1 million in gold and 300 L3 training modules. You can download the game via the link below. Gamers eating good. Shudder, shout out to you for this one. Caught it on AMC Plus. Really solid flick, but you guys gotta let me know if you would have done anything differently in this one. And also how it compares to the game, because I've been meaning to play the game as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. Check out that How to Beat playlist for more videos just like this one. I'm Ben. We'll see you in the next video and have a damn good day.